You're walking home late at night, and suddenly you hear a police siren. You're walking calmly as it passes by you, but instead it stops beside you. A police officer steps out of the car, stops you in the middle of the road, and starts asking you questions. You can always end up like Taynvin Galankis if you don't know your rights. But who is Tayvin? He's a 19-year-old college freshman at William Penn University who was illegally arrested and defamed by the police. But what did he do, and how could you avoid being arrested in these kinds of situations? Well, to find out, keep watching, because we're going to learn 5 outstanding ways to outsmart police officers every time you encounter them. Tip number 1. Don't talk or answer the police officer. On August 28, 2022, Tayvin was driving on the main road at night when Iowa police officers stopped him. One friendly cop started asking him some seemingly innocent questions, such as where he was going, where his license was, and from where he was coming.
Hi there. How you doing, sir? Good, how are you?
Good.
My name's Officer Winters with the Newton Police Department. You got your license, registration, insurance with you?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, cool.
He kept responding to all of these questions and told the officer that he was coming from a party. The cop asked him to step out of the car and arrested him by accusing him of using drugs and being drunk. He was shocked and unable to grasp the severity of the situation.
Can you see my finger clearly?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alright, during this, keep your arms down your side. Why are you shaking so much?
It's freezing, man. Look at you, you got all these clothes on, and I got shorts on and it's raining. And you false accusing me, so of course I'm gonna be a little nervous. Yeah. You got nothing to say.
Now, what would you do if you were in this situation? A lot of you might commit those same mistakes that Tayvin had made. But what mistakes did he commit? To understand the answers, you should know why the police would stop you in the first place. Officers are allowed to stop you for multiple legal reasons. They can suspect you of drinking or any other crime that might make you arrested. Now they just want to talk to you in the hope of finding enough evidence to use against you. The most common question police ask in this situation is, where are you going this late, and from where are you coming? Are you obliged to answer these questions? Well, absolutely not. Don't make the mistake of answering their question as Tayvin had done. Exercise your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination. According to this right, you cannot be forced to testify against yourself. This right allows you to remain silent during police questioning, protecting you from providing information that could be used against you. Say something simple like, "Officer, I plead the Fifth and exercise my right to remain silent." Watch this footage where Shkreli repeatedly invokes his Fifth Amendment right in front of a committee.
Mr. Shkreli, you did not provide the committee any written testimony. Do you wish to make an opening statement?
On the advice of counsel, I will not be giving an opening statement.
Think you've done anything wrong?
On the advice of counsel, I invoke my Fifth Amendment privilege against self-incrimination and respectfully decline to answer your question.
He kept saying the same thing throughout the hearing and was dismissed in the end. Now, you've got to do the same when the police are trying to interrogate you. Remember that police officers must have to show you a legal permit to stop and question you. If they don't have a search warrant or arrest warrant against you, they have no authority over you or to hold you there. So, answering any of these questions will cause trouble for you. The Tayvin case is the best example of it. By talking, you're allowing them to do exactly what they want. So, being quiet doesn't mean you're guilty. It means you're smart enough to know your rights and use them. Tip 2. Invoke your Miranda rights. What if you're coming from a party where you've been drinking with your friends? When a police officer reaches out to you and asks you to cooperate for a breathalyzer test, although you aren't doing anything wrong or driving under the influence, can a police officer still come and demand a clear breath test? Well, this one is a little bit more of a complicated question. Police officers may demand a breathalyzer test to check whether you've been committing any crime or not, but they can't arrest you without any probable cause. Now, if you refuse to take the test, it might make you feel guilty and give officers a chance to arrest you. Here, you have 2 options. Either you take a test and expose your alcohol rate, which let's say is more than the permitted limit, or you can refuse the test. In both situations, you're found guilty and officers may arrest you. In this situation, you must know about your Miranda rights. Officers are obliged to read your Miranda rights while arresting you. These rights may be phrased like this: you have the right to remain silent, Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop answering at any time. Here's the inside track. If an officer arrests you without using your Miranda rights, anything you say or do may be non-admissible in court. Police officers don't want you to hear this, but knowing your Miranda rights and stating them will protect you from unwanted questioning and unfair arrest. So what do you do if an officer starts arresting you and doesn't read you your Miranda rights? Don't do a thing. Make sure it's documented, make sure it's recorded. There have been many cases throughout the history of the United States every year where cases are outright dismissed and thrown out the window because a person was not read their rights the correct way. Tip number 3, don't just stay silent, but verbally exercise your rights. This is where things are going to get interesting, because what if you encounter a police officer on the road? You've been questioned, and the next thing you know, you're in the police station. On top of that, you're being investigated for a crime that you know nothing about. Well, whether you've committed a crime or not, it's always advisable to plead your Fifth Amendment right to stay quiet. Here's a big misconception about this right. Most people stay silent throughout their investigation in the hope that they're pleading their Fifth Amendment rights. Instead, officers can see them as guilty of their crime and not cooperating with the investigation. This can be used against them in court. So, what do you do in this situation? Well, you can't be protected by the law unless you actually verbalize your rights in front of the officer. For instance, all you have to say is, "Officer, I plead the Fifth," and then remain silent. This time, it actually counts, and you can stay quiet as long as you want and protect your rights. Tip number 4, seek justice for misconduct under the color of law. Here's where things get incredibly interesting, because a big misconception about police officers is that they have high authority. They can do anything to you and you're obliged to follow what they do. Well, police officers are not the law, but they're members of the law who are obliged to follow the law as much as you do. Remember, no one person is above the law. They can't misbehave or mistreat you or arrest you unfairly. Otherwise, they could face the consequences.
State police are investigating a violent arrest that was caught on camera. According to state police, in the video are 2 Crawford County Sheriff's deputies and a Mulberry police officer. The video appears to show them pinning a man down during an altercation and repeatedly punching and kneeing him to the head and body.
According to Title 18 of the USC, Section 242, whoever, under color of any law, statute, ordinance, regulation, or custom, willfully subjects any person in any state, territory, commonwealth, possession, or district to the deprivation of any rights, privileges, or immunities secured or protected by the Constitution or laws of the United States, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. And if bodily injury results from the acts committed, a violation of this section, or if such acts include the use, attempted use, or threatened use of a dangerous weapon, explosives, or fire, shall be fined under the title or imprisoned not more than 10 years or both. And if death results from the acts committed in violation of this section, or if such acts include kidnapping or an attempt to kidnap, aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to commit aggravated sexual abuse, or an attempt to kill, shall be fined under this title, or imprisoned for any term of years, or for life, or both, or may be sentenced to death. There's a case where Balua police are caught on camera violating the color of the law. In the footage, you can see how police officers are rudely ordering the woman into the car to come out. They're forcefully trying to take her out of the car by opening its doors.
Put her on the other side. Enough of this. Enough. You come out now, Lacey. No, this ain't going away. This is not going away now. Ma'am, you're under arrest.
They were suspended when the video became viral. So next time you encounter a police officer who violates your civil rights by using threats, verbal or physical violence, searches you without your consent, or forces you to answer, you must know your rights. Section 1983 of the Civil Rights Act of 1871 also allows you to file lawsuits against state and local officials, including police officers, who violate your constitutional right and demand justice. Now here's one thing that might help you with the investigation. Note down anything you hear, experience, or see. You can also record the actions of officers, which leads us to our next way to outsmart police. Tip number 5. Record police officers. Suppose you encounter a police officer, and without any probable cause, they want you to come with them to the police station. You plead your Fifth Amendment right to stay silent and don't consent to further investigation. Well, some police officers might start violating the color of the law, as the Blua police officers had done in the previous footage. What would you do in this situation? How do you deal with a police officer who's not ready to listen until you come with them to the police station? In this situation, your best bet is to start recording police officers. The First Amendment rights of the United States state that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof or abridging the freedom of speech or of the press or of the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So you can exercise your First Amendment right and say, "Officer, I believe my rights are violated and I'm recording this to use it in court." No police officer can violate your rights as long as you're recording. But if they still do, make sure to keep this recording safe and to use it in your Section 1983 lawsuit. Let's take a quick look at 5 amazing ways to outsmart police. Don't answer or talk to officers unless they have a legal warrant or probable cause against you. If officers fail to read you your Miranda rights, don't stop them. Use that against them in a court of law. Remember to always verbalize your rights in clear words. Record police officers if you think that your civil rights are being violated. You can also sue the officers acting under the color of the law. And if you want to see more videos on how to protect your rights, then make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in our next informational video.